Last time we connected the dots between non-identification with thoughts and how reality responds. When you identify with habitual thought patterns, your nervous system, especially the heart, broadcasts a measurable electromagnetic field that carries your internal state outward, about 8 to 10 feet or more. This field interacts with the fields of others and the underlying energetic substrate of reality. Unconscious identification with fearful or limiting thoughts broadcasts those frequencies, often overriding conscious intentions like affirmations or visualizations, and reality mirrors back matching patterns. When you rest more in pure awareness instead of reactive thinking, your broadcast becomes coherent and stable, allowing interactions and circumstances to shift toward presence rather than past projections. We added a heart-centered practice. After labeling a thought, place a hand on your heart, breathe, and rest attention in the simple aliveness or spaciousness beneath the thought. You are asked to notice any softening, calming, or increased presence in daily life and bring those observations back. Now, let's go even deeper. This next layer often feels profoundly paradigm shifting. Not only are most thoughts not originally generated by you, many aren't even produced by your individual brain alone. You are often accessing what can be described as a collective thought field, a shared reservoir of mental patterns, beliefs, emotional tones, and preoccupations that individual minds tune into, usually without realizing it. Have you ever observed how certain ideas, fears, or obsessions seem to sweep across entire populations at once? 1 week or month or year, everyone is suddenly fixated on the same worry, the same cultural narrative, the same outrage or aspiration. This isn't mere social contagion through media. It points to something subtler and more interconnected. People begin experiencing and expressing very similar thought content, as though a shared field has become dominant and individual consciousnesses are simply dipping into it. Research into collective consciousness supports this observation. Studies, particularly those involving the Global Consciousness Project, have documented intriguing correlations. During major global events that capture widespread human attention, natural disasters, celebrations, crises, networks of random number generators located around the world begin deviating from true randomness in statistically significant ways. These devices, which should produce purely chance sequences, show non-random structure synchronized with collective emotional focus, as if mass attention exerts a subtle influence on probability fields at a quantum level. What this implies is that consciousness is not strictly localized inside individual skulls. It behaves more like individual receivers tuning into and contributing to a broader shared field of consciousness that already contains archetypal thought patterns, belief structures, emotional atmospheres, and cultural memes. Your personal mind filters and colors what comes through, but the raw material often originates from this collective layer. You can begin to verify this directly in your own life. Over the next few days, gently track your thoughts and ask, how many of these thoughts are rooted in my direct, immediate experience right now? Notice how frequently your mind becomes occupied with economic fears you've only read or heard about, worries about distant global events that aren't touching your daily reality, strong opinions about public figures or strangers you've never met, cultural trends, moral panics, or collective hopes or fears that feel urgent but aren't personally lived. These thoughts rarely arise from your own direct perception or circumstances. They drift in from the collective field, are picked up by your awareness, and then, because we're so habituated to identification, get claimed as my thoughts, my concerns, my views. This recognition can feel unsettling at first. It means you've had even less authorship over your thinking than previously imagined. Yet it is deeply liberating. Once you see that you are tuning into collective fields rather than independently generating every thought, you gain real agency. You can begin to consciously choose which fields to resonate with and which to disengage from. You don't have to fight or suppress thoughts from the collective layer. You simply notice them arriving, label them as collective thought stream, just as we labelled personal predictive patterns before, and return attention to the spacious awareness that was already present before the thought entered. Over time, this practice reduces automatic resonance with denser, fear-based or limiting collective frequencies and naturally aligns you more with calmer, clearer, more coherent ones. For your practice until next session, continue the previous heart-centered labeling practice whenever a thought arises. Add this small refinement. When a thought feels particularly charged, repetitive, or in the air, especially if it matches something widely discussed in media or among people around you, silently note, thinking, collective field pattern, not mine. Then return to 3 slow heart breaths and resting in spacious awareness. Observe what happens. Does labeling it as collective reduce its emotional pull? Do you feel less compelled to engage, argue with, or believe it? Does the body-mind relax even slightly when you disidentify from the shared stream? No need to change anything, just notice and record what you experience. We'll discuss your observations next time and explore how to navigate collective fields more skillfully in daily life.